I've always found it weird, the concept of grown men with long hats dabbling with children in any form. Maybe that's just me, but some of these stories I see, whether it's Willy Wonka or the Mad Hatter, they seem much creepier and darker than what's shown on the surface. And I believe that Alice in Wonderland, the true story being told here, is not this fantastical story about a little girl traveling to this fantasy world similar to even Peter Pan. No. This is child grooming at its finest. Don't leave yet. Let me make my case here of why this fucking story is creepier than you think, okay? Because, believe it or not, this has already inspired one fictional serial killer, this story already, known as the Mad Hatter in the DC universe. If you don't know about him, he's creepy as shit, but I'm going to tell you exactly what happens, okay? Many theorists already believe that Alice in Wonderland represents drug abuse, or a drug-fueled hallucination that she has. Alice grows and shrinks by ingesting strange substances. There's a caterpillar that literally smokes a hookah in front of her. Time stops working logically at the tea party. The Mad Hatter himself, there's a lot of sus things about him. Like, a lot of people theorize this might just be a drug-infused hallucination, right? I'm going to take it a step further. I don't think it's that at all. I think there's something much, much worse at play here, okay? Now, I'm going to read you something, okay? Tell me how creepy this sounds. Tarrant Hightop, or otherwise known as the Mad Hatter, first met Alice when she was a young child at the age of 9. They became friends quickly, even enjoying tea together. Alice forgot these memories while she was away from Wonderland, but at the age of 19, Alice fell down the rabbit hole once again. This dude with a long hat met this kid when she was way younger, and they had a bunch of experiences together that she no longer remembers until she goes back and gets those memories back. I can't be the only one who thinks this sounds incredibly fucking sus, right? Now look, I get it. Maybe I have the dirty mind. Maybe I'm the problem here, because we live in the age of outrage culture, okay? Maybe back then, the stories that were written, nobody's thinking like this, okay? This is all innocent. Zaffy, why are you trying to bastardize something? Why are you trying to ruin a good thing? Fair point. Let's go further. Let's take a look at that tea party, the endless tea party that never ends, this ritualistic, cyclical type of event that Alice was invited to. The riddles, the meaningless conversations, the erratic behavior by Mad Hatter. These are tactics, in many ways, in real life, used to confuse and mentally exhaust victims like Alice, making them malleable, susceptible to suggestion. The cult in Wonderland doesn't allow progress. Why? Because time here is arrested. Time doesn't work the way it normally does. These are not things that sound normal, do they? The Mad Hatter is a predator. Maybe not sexual, but he is a predator in a cult allegory sense. Here, he gaslights the shit out of Alice constantly with these riddles and this change in emotion every time he's talking to her. He speaks in riddles, circular logic, and paradoxes, all designed to wear her out mentally. This reflects real-world gaslighting, okay? A key tactic used by people who wear down their victims, okay? Predators and cult figures love doing this shit. They confuse their victims and make them doubt their own perception of reality, all right? Number 2, he traps her in a ritualistic environment. Again, with the rituals. This is a common trait with all men who like to wear long hats and lure kids somewhere, okay? The never-ending tea party is like a ritual, a looped event designed to rob Alice of time, agency, and progress. It's cult indoctrination at its finest, because in various cults, rituals are used to strip away a person's sense of time and identity, keeping them dependent on the cult or structure and meaning, okay? Number 3, he distracts her from escape. This is the big one. Rather than help her return home, he pulls her deeper into the absurdity of this world. He appears friendly and whimsical, but his actions serve this cult-like system of Wonderland by keeping her disoriented and compliant. Some could say he used fucking drugs on her to do this. That's one way of looking at it. But he didn't even need that. His own words do that job for him. It's the symbol of controlled madness. In some versions, like Tim Burton's version, the Hatter swings between being friendly and volatile. He's bipolar in the way he treats her. Very similar to cult leaders, okay? This is a red flag in predator behavior. Kindness is used as bait, followed by emotional instability to keep the victims off balance. They don't know what is coming, so they become emotionally dependent because of how confused in the mind they are, especially at a young age. The Hatter might himself be emotionally stunted from years inside Wonderland, okay? He clings to Alice because of this, but not out of love. No. This is codependence, parasitic. He wants someone to relate to, someone to validate his madness, someone to keep him from feeling alone in his psychic prison that he's put himself ever since the shit that happened in his own childhood with the Red Queen coming and fucking up all the Mad Hatter family, right? Keeping her near him feeds his own delusion. Now, his grooming, when I say child grooming, this may not be sexual. He might be using her in the same way that rebel military groups in places like Africa use child soldiers when they're trying to overthrow governments or do some kind of military expansion. What happens is children get brought into the fold. They get fed a lot of drugs and trained, and they adopt an ideology. They're indoctrinated into an ideology. They're warped in the fucking brain early on and used as child soldiers. Many places this happens all over when it comes to war. He's doing this in his own war against the Red Queen. He wants to stop the Red Queen's reign, so he's using Alice. And essentially in the same way a rebel military leader would use a bunch of child soldiers. She is his personal, symbolic and literal child soldier, and he grooms her ever since she was young to do this. He's been waiting for the day that she can come and help him make a difference in this world. So in his mind, it might be right what he's doing morally, but he's warping and destroying the mind of a young child. Do we understand now what's happening? He might not have been violating her sexually. The fact that he was doing weird stuff with her when she was 9 that she doesn't forget, that she doesn't remember now, that's weird, bro. That's some trauma shit. You know, when you suppress memories and block them out, that's what that reminds me of. But more so, he might have been doing like some CIA operation programming in her, you know, where he has the bunny say things to her and lure her in that remind her of things that had to happen then. And this is like a form of mind control, you understand? There's something scary but also tragic about the Hatter's attachment to her. She's everything he once was. Think about it. He was a clear-headed, curious, grounded kid, you know, young man. He wants her because if he can pull her into his world and make her like him, it will mean his transformation wasn't a loss. It was an evolution. See, as much as he's trying to stop the Red Queen and how great and how much of a good guy he looks like for doing that morally, this is about him validating his own existence, using her, grooming her. As much as he's using her as a soldier in his army, which again is morally fucked up, he's also using her to validate his own existence. When Alice wakes up, she's unsure if whatever happened in Wonderland was real or a dream. Mirroring how many abuse victims disassociate or repress traumatic experiences. Again, he does this every time. He did it when she was 9, when she was a little kid, and he's doing it again. What's to stop him from doing it again and again and again and removing and repeating the cycle and the cycle? He probably does this with a lot of kids. Because once she grows old, she loses a luster that he wants. He wants someone who's young and malleable. He's going to keep doing it again and again and again. It does not end. This is what these predator cult figures do. Her story, being dismissed as a dream, reflects society's tendency to overlook or disbelieve disturbing truths hidden underneath, especially when it's cloaked in fantasy or imagination. There's a lot of hidden subtext that's darker than you think within these movies. I made a video about Willy Wonka, how that shit was more satanic than you think. I made a video about Peter Pan and how that shit was about a death cult. This is the same thing happening here. It's all about a new fantastical whimsy form of victimization and how it can all be covered up under the guise of this dream-like escape world. The escape is the trap. Remove yourself from the chains of your existence and escape on an adventure with me. Meanwhile, you'll be my servant to serve my own existence, my own goals, and my own biases. My own war. That's what she was. Yes, the Red Queen was problematic as a character, but the Mad Hatter is just as much of a villain, and he doesn't know it. That is the dark story. That's the dark truth about the Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is one entire long grooming episode. That's what it is. This is child grooming at its finest, y'all. Always beware of the hidden clues within these movies. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I do not want to be sued by anyone who thinks I'm defaming their work. Listen, this is just one perspective. One way to look at the story, okay? I'm not trying to say the Mad Hatter is a groomer, and I love Johnny Depp. I got nothing against the actors who play these roles, okay? But I'm just saying these stories are a bit weirder than you think. A bit creepier, a bit darker, okay? That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. If you want to know why Peter Pan was a fucking death cult, watch this video over here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.